pro-police candidate is the winner of the Democratic primary to be the next mayor of New York City. Eric Adams defeated a large field of rivals and is heavily favored to win the general election in November. Adams is a former police captain, and he appealed to the political center by promising to strike a balance between fighting crime and focusing on racial injustice in policing. Joining us now is John Schweppe, Director of Policy and Government Affairs at the American Principles Project. John, welcome back. Good to see you again. First off, I want to get your take on Eric Adams, the pro-police candidate winning the Democratic primary in New York. What do you think it says about the people of New York and what they're looking for now in a mayor? And also, bigger picture, what do you think it indicates for the U.S. midterm elections in 2022?
Well, I think it's important to note that, this was not an extremely progressive candidate who wanted to do away with the police and all of that. You had Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez endorsing or pushing a couple of those candidates. You had, Andrew Yang, who is very well liked online. And here was a candidate who minorities in New York really liked. They were concerned about crime. They wanted to make sure that their city was safe for their children, for families. And so I do think that's really interesting. Democrats sometimes are out of touch, I think, with where voters really are at. And so credit to Adams for recognizing what it took to actually win an election and, kind of moderating the tone that the Democrats have kind of struck on these types of issues.
Yeah, and what do you think about the midterms? What going from now on, where do you think we see that going as we saw in New York?
Well, Democrats have a real vulnerability on this issue of policing because you look at the polling, minorities in the inner city, they want more police, not less. This is really being driven by a progressive elite that's really out of touch with what working families are actually going through. And so I think it's going to be a problem because those progressives don't really want to, lighten their rhetoric at all. And so Republicans would be wise to really focus on that issue and make it a big deal, especially in some of these swing districts, suburban districts, some of these areas where people are very concerned about rising crime.
Yeah, John, I'm going to switch gears here. I know that you know this. Former President Donald Trump had a big announcement today. He filed a lawsuit against Google, Twitter, and Facebook, saying that the tech giants are censoring the American people. I want to get your take on this lawsuit, and ultimately, how do you think this will play out?
Well, a lot of people are already trying to say it's a frivolous lawsuit, and that's just wrong. I've talked to a couple legal experts on this who have explained it to me, and it seems very legitimate. One of the things they're really going after is, were the tech giants colluding with Democrats to really impact the election and restrict the speech of Republicans and conservatives? I think that's an important thing because if they were, there are laws on the books that prevent that from happening. The other thing that's really important is that it's a class action lawsuit. So this isn't just about Donald Trump. He is kind of headlining it and bringing attention to it, but they're seeking to represent all conservatives, all activists, all religious people, anyone who's been censored by these giants. And I think that's really important. So we'll see where it goes. It's always a question with these lawsuits, but encouraging that it's happening and maybe it'll lead to some good.
Yeah, and going to President Biden today, yesterday, he actually talked about the coronavirus, also said that he's going to be pushing a door-to-door campaign in order to increase COVID-19 vaccinations. What do you think of that strategy? A lot of people have been talking about it. And also, is this something that's been done before?
No, this is actually, frankly, it's extremely Orwellian. No, this is not a good idea at all. I mean, if we're talking about trying to get people who are vaccine hesitant to take the vaccine, they're going to read news stories now about government task forces going door to door to try to force it on them. That's not going to help the problem at all. So I think it's really dangerous. And you also, anytime you hear of government funds going to something like this, it's going to be politicized as well. So this will end up being a get out the vote campaign, a voter registration drive. So it's not necessarily surprising, but it's an extremely political proposal and unfortunately probably won't help get those vaccine rates up.
All right, John, thank you so much for your insight. Always appreciate it. John Schweppe, Director of Policy and Government Affairs at the American Principles Project.
Thank you.